The Working Actor NYC. That's Patrick Richwood.
Look at that's Benjamin House right there.
And you may have noticed that Patrick Richwood is not in his previously scheduled environment. He is currently looking very
I'm in New Mexico with family.
and doing a beautiful job and looking clean shaven and fresh.
Yes, I told you that was an accident. I was trying to even it out. I was trying to even out the beard before I was like, fuck it.
Why,
Just shave it
why,
off.
why do grooming accidents always make
It
us?
really brings out the OCD in you because it's like, no. Okay, a little more. Oh, a little more. Oh, God. It's like trying to slice a piece of cake for two kids. An eighth of an inch, 16th of an inch.
It's a very specific analogy, and I love it. Slice a
Every
piece
parent will know.
for two kids. All right,
Hello.
jump into it. My field report is basic and bare this week. I've been watching a lot of television, and I've got to tell you, it's homework, but it's really interesting to me. There are so many. The world of television is so much bigger than I think it is, and
I know.
rather than sort of diving into it, I'm like, oh, I like this and I don't like that. I like this and I don't like that. I'm starting. My God, Patrick, this is the lesson. I'm starting to form opinions.
What? Who
Isn't
are
that
you?
crazy?
Get Benjamin. I'm
As
scared.
I get educated about something, I'm starting to form an opinion about it, which
Well,
is shocking, I know.
I didn't think I had done any field report this week because I was so busy getting out my ass out of town. Except I did because I watched television too for that purpose to do homework, not just to watch television, but like, and now I'm going to watch this show and see how it's done. And some of them you can tell have a really strong ensemble vibe on the set. You could just tell.
What are you
You
talking
can
about
tell.
specific?
Well, like that show that I mentioned, not Crank. What the? Oh, it just went right out of my head. The name.
Beef.
What? No,
Beef,
another one word name.
big
Indian,
mistakes.
the Indian family and or Pakistani family and
Oh, you
community and
did. You
the
did send
actor.
it to me.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll come up with the name, but that's a great example of like you can see people are at the top of their game working with each other. You could just see it. It's vividly comes off the screen, and you think, "Oh, that comes from the top." I love that. I love when I can see that. Good ensemble acting is we're seeing a ton of that in television in the last 10 years, but sometimes you
I
can see
texted
like
you about adults. Oh, here it is. Bait.
bait. That's it.
Bait
Yeah.
on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I didn't see any openings for white guy in his 60s. You never know. I mean, obviously, you never know.
Adults did. I highly recommend adults. So you and I went down this path, and we'll share it with our listeners and viewers, because you and I have given ourselves this homework to get a little more educated about television. So we've been watching shows that we may not necessarily have seen before. We both watched Big Mistakes and turned it off because it was too stressful.
I was like, my shoulders were up like this, and I was like,
It's just like I was like, please make me laugh. Please make me laugh. And you
it
and I
made
had
me laugh, but it made me laugh in that way that's like, I hope I don't shit my pants.
I was just like, it feels like let's put together a group of unlikable people and put them in situations where things go badly.
Yeah.
And I just was like, this isn't making me laugh.
You know who does that? Who's famously does that is Ben Stiller. You have to be uncomfortable to get his comedy. You
Well,
really have to be like uncomfortable.
so there's a line that tension. Well, it's a line between tension and comedy. Like make me laugh, make me uncomfortable, and then make me laugh about it. But
Yeah.
for me, Beef managed that, but Big Mistakes did not. So
Right.
that
Same.
was the
Same.
journey I'm on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
let's
our
move
field
on.
report.
That's a field report. Watch television, more
It's
of
ongoing. Watch TV, I guess, if you have to. Stretch out
it.
on the couch,
We're
make
getting
some popcorn.
a lot of hellos from the crowd on YouTube. Well, thanks for joining us for the Working Actor NYC. This is our podcast, the office hours in the green room. Let us know what you're working on in your acting career, so that we can offer our well seasoned opinions and advice about it. Hey, to all of our friends over on TikTok, you can click on the link in my link tree in my bio if you want to see the full shenanigans over on YouTube or Facebook, or Instagram is
I mean,
also
you can click on my link tree anytime, baby.
where.
Um, I don't have a link tree.
So
I don't even know what
so
it is.
let's have a look. This is a video that got sent in by my dear friend Mallory.
So I'm a dancer and I went to a dance CCC where I already knew the first 2/3 of the combination and then they added a little bit more to the end than what I had typically done in the past. But I was like, you know what, I got this, I'm gonna be good. And my group ended up being towards the end, my little trio that we were dancing in, and something happened. I like don't even know how to describe it, but I could feel myself kind of blanking out on what the next move was. And then I kind of realized that the other girls may have been looking at me or like I was looking at them for a second and we all fell off track, fell off course. It was like dominoes and couldn't get back on the music. And like the lovely associate just started marking it so that we could kind of like get back on and then it was over. And then like we didn't get to try again. And so I think I just felt so mortified in the moment. My body like tensed up. I left and I leaned over to my friend and I was like, I have to leave because I'm so in shock that that happened to me, that I made that big of a mistake in the room that like I'm going to cry. Like I'm going to cry. And so I like left and I ended up crying about it. And it was so embarrassing because I'm someone who will like make a mistake and like get back on. And for whatever reason, it just fell apart. And it's really, really difficult when that happens to recover from that moment. And I personally think that like maybe because as dancers, we just have so much information in there during audition season that maybe something just didn't stick with me that day.
Oh,
And I've had to like remind myself that not every audition is going to be perfect. And I mean, I'm still thinking about it. So
oh, poor Mallory. She's the sweetest human being and incredibly talented.
I mean,
And
you know, the dancer mentality already, I just completely I take my hat off to every dancer that I meet because it's like, how you do that? But
and the thing is, like actors, they give us the sides ahead of time. Singers, they give us the song ahead of time to learn it so we can bring it into the room and prepare it. Dancers, you do it on the spot.
yes, but I will say that's part of the dancer's job description, and they're all really good at it. I think I hear something that, as an actor, that is would apply to what Mallory's situation is. Can I jump in?
Go for it.
Mallory, I think for what happened, why it was different than the times that you've gone, oops, missed that, keep going, is because this time you didn't know why you fell out. And I think it's because it happened so quickly. It happened in the reverse. It wasn't you fell out and then noticed that the other girls were looking at you. I think it's that your brain, your mind got went off of what I would call story, but for you, it's like the moves, the choreography, and started thinking about the other girls for a split
That
second,
part.
and
That's exactly
that's
what
what
I
pulled
was.
you out, and
Yeah,
that's why you're beating yourself up because you didn't haven't distinguished that and gone, oh, I don't have to now. I can build up some tools so that if that happens again, I can recognize it and be like, nope, I'm dancing now, and that's really all it is. That's
it
how
is.
come it's leaving you feeling unfinished. I think.
It's that moment of like it's one thing to take responsibility for yourself, but all of a sudden she felt responsible for the two people behind, for the two other dancers behind her that she was working with. And I feel like that would be total, like I can fall off my own track and get back on it, but if I fall off my own track and take responsibility for the two people behind me, we're gone. Like
Yeah, but there's 2 separate things happening. She might feel like she was suddenly responsible for throwing the whole thing off. I don't know, she but she was saying, I was aware of them, and it
yeah,
was not the usual body space awareness. It was like aware of something that pulled her out,
yeah,
and this was what I heard, and that happened first before even though it seems like it might have happened in the reverse, I'm willing to bet that's what happened actually first for a split second, and then she was out of it and
yeah.
couldn't get back into it. That's because that happens to actors all
Well,
the
that's
time. I mean,
that's what I was gonna ask you is like, has an audition ever made you cry?
oh my God. I I don't know if it's ever made me cry because it's I've been doing it for 7 centuries. But um I have no
Is that what that
it's
smell is?
it's like the line in Titus Andronicus, "Why dost thou cry? It does not befit the hour. I have no tears left. Why, I have not a single tear left to shed." Um, no, I think that it's I've
Oh,
definitely
can we just
Mallory.
can we just check that Patrick just quoted Shakespeare without a book in front of him? We're just gonna check that.
As the nurse in Romeo and Juliet says, in the version that was cut, I saw the manuscript. Um, Mallory, I think that Mallory, I've had auditions like that. I know get Benjamin has. Every actor I've ever met has had an audition that left them really reeling from like, how did that happen, and how come I can't go back and fix it? And I just want to tell you, it's so simple. It comes down to something so simple, and the thing was not related or physical. It's a mental thing, and all it was oops, I got pulled out of the story. I'm going to call it the story because that's what it would be for us. For you, I believe the best dancers are the ones who have made the choreography into a linear story for themselves. And they're
Right.
expressing and making choices that are personal through that choreography. So it's story to
Yeah.
me. And for whatever reason, your brain went, what's going on over there? And boom.
Yeah. So our listeners are chiming in. Mars over on TikTok. What audition on TikTok? On TikTok, Mars over on TikTok said, "What audition hasn't made me cry, or happy, or anxious, or sad?" I mean, it's kind of the thing. Like, my strongest reaction to an audition situation was kind of more along the lines of, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?" Rather than being, it's an emotional situation, and so putting
Oh,
yourself
I've
like
had
that.
ones where I was the golden boy going into callbacks. And for whatever reason, mental, physical, emotional, whatever the perfect storm was, I crashed and burned when I could have gotten the job. I mean, I would have been like the choice going in.
Right.
And because they're all like, he's gonna do it again. Watch this. And then it didn't happen. But I'm guarantee you, Mallory, that it is so just I mean, for me anyway, every single time it was I got pulled out of I couldn't make it back because mentally I went south. And it's subtle, but I'm so conditioned to look for it and go after that. Oh, that's where I dropped out, and then I couldn't get back in. And the other thing I want to say is I've had more than I can possibly count auditions where I made a mistake, but I was so present and in the story and so right there that I turned it around, or I did what any person would do and just repeated myself and said it correctly, or any number of other things that are human, right? But
Yeah.
it turned into an asset because they got to witness what it's like working with someone who doesn't drop the ball, just
Right.
keeps going. And that's kind of a great little sort of bonus to show them. It models how on the ball you are. Um,
Mars
yeah.
is saying auditioning is the most vulnerable and stressful part of being an actor, in my opinion. And it's well, yes, and it's the job. I mean, auditioning is the job. It's what? How many auditions do we go on versus how many jobs do we have? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah. People are like, "Do
Audition.
you like your work?" And I'm like, "I love my work." The job is a little dicey. Once I have the job, then the work starts. But that's not true because actually the most fun I've had on auditions is where I made it about the work. And
Yeah.
I forgot, I
Yeah.
let go of that. I'm going. The best auditions I've ever had are the ones where I go in saying, I'm not going to get the job. That's not why I'm here. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to do the work. Yeah.
Mars says most definitely is the job, and I think that's what people don't understand. Yeah, but I like what you're saying, Patrick. It is those moments where you're just like, you can let go of whether or not you're going to get the job because for whatever reason you're just like, oh, I'm not going to get it, or maybe I am going to get it, or it doesn't matter. But what I really want to show you is how I'm going to do this
Yeah.
material, you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be cast as Cassie because they've got somebody that's done it 3 times in the past, but I'm gonna show you my Cassie. Here's my
Yeah.
music in the mirror. Wait until you see this. And that now I get to express it and
I
leave.
in fact, the next time you and I are in the same room, I'm gonna make you do your Cassie for me because I really want to see you in a red skirt. There you go. Oh dear. You just made me cough.
Bum, 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 ba-dum.
Oh,
Oh, wait, there. You've seen it.
the back bend. Oh my God. Please don't injure yourself. Remember you're on Medicare. No.
You're an asshole. Have I told you that lately? No, I am not on Medicare, viewers.
Oh, dear. Why not? You should. What, girl?
I'm not old enough, you
Oh,
asshole.
you're not?
No. You have to be
Oh, I thought that was.
65.
Oh, no, no, you're not that. Oh, I thought it was earlier than that. There you go. What do I know? What do I know? I'm such a spring chicken.
I don't what do I know? I'm just young and pretty.
Well, well.
Um,
Oh gosh.
that's a, but all that to say, but I should have started with boy do I sympathize, Mallory, because I mean, yes, we've all been there.
Oh
And
boy.
but I really just wanted to point out that it's a tiny little mental thing that once you know that that's what causes it, that what causes that kind of a response to a mistake. You could have easily been in a headspace where you were totally present. You made the mistake, you went right on, like you've said you've done a million times, right? It's like, or however many, 4 times, the 4 times that you've made a mistake. You know, it's just such a simple little think and to know, oh, here are some tools that I have to stay in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt so bad for her when she,
Oh, yeah. I
when I
mean,
looked at her. Because the other thing about being a dance call is that there are 25 other people in the room watching it happen. You know what I
oh,
mean? It's just like, oh, my heart, my heart.
yeah. That's why when you go into auditions or callbacks and there's like 19 people, do you know? Did you ever work for at Good? Oh, yeah, we met at Goodspeed. I think it's Goodspeed where I forget. Forgot.
Have you ever worked at Goods? Oh, right.
I
We worked.
forgot. I forgot. There's so many. What is the play? We
Oh my God.
wasn't it Goodspeed where they have the audience, they have the donor participation, so they bring the donors to the callbacks.
Riverside.
Oh, that's Riverside. That's right,
It's
Riverside Theater in
Riverside.
Florida.
Part of the perks for if you
Vero Beach.
donate money to the Riverside Theater, one of the perks is that you get to come to New York
They
City
fly into New
and
York. You
watch the
stay in it, put
actors
up,
do their callbacks.
and you're not allowed to say anything. You're not allowed to do anything, or and it's so weird. But I actually kind of liked it because it's like, hi, folks.
Little
Maybe I'll see you
audience.
later. And then
Yeah.
when you meet them at the, at the at
Opening
the
night
opening
party.
night, they're like, "I saw you audition. It was so fun." And they
You
also
weren't my
come backstage.
favorite. You
I
weren't
think
my
it's brilliant.
favorite, but I'm glad you got the job. Yeah.
I'm so surprised you got the job, but congratulations. Congratulations. I didn't see it. Can you imagine? Listen, if you ever go up for this role again, I have notes. This
Oh, sorry. Mars. Mars is like, looks like the 7 centuries of being in the industry are starting to catch up with him. Oh, burn. Oh, the burn. Mars has got,
starting to.
Mars has got the sassy pants on today. Get him.
Starting to. You call that sassy? Starting to. We're
All right.
way beyond starting to Mars.
Oh, dear.
I'm already deceased.
Oh, this is, I've laughed so much, I'm crying. Great. Terrific. Because we're actually here to talk about something deeply serious.
Your mascara's running. Yeah, we are here to talk about something serious, I think, which is
Please, no, I'm kidding.
attitude.
Mars says, please, no, I'm kidding. Of course, we know you're kidding. But it's the kind of,
Who said that?
this is Mars over on TikTok. I'm like, Mars,
Fuck
this is
you,
your
Mars. I'm never
argument
talking to you again.
all
I never
the
liked you in the first place. I don't know who it is.
time. Good stuff. But and
But,
anyway, it's on TikTok because there's plenty of you over on TikTok. If you want to see the full shenanigans, head to the link in my link tree to the YouTube, and you can see the full
which
shenanigans.
basically means letterbox instead of
Double the fun.
postage stamp.
No, they're only getting me. They're only getting me on TikTok.
Let's
Um,
talk about actors and our attitudes.
oh, actors and our attitudes. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I want to talk
today
about
we
that.
are asking the question, do you have to be selfish to succeed as an actor? And if I may, I will
And by the way, it's kind of a little bit of a trick question, people. So don't think we're that easy.
don't jump to the conclusion straight away.
Stride away.
So, this was initiated by an experience that I had. I went in to do a job and I met an actor I hadn't met before. And literally, one of the first questions out of this actor's mouth to me was, "What are you on at the moment?"
And I said, did you say lorazepam 200 milligrams? What about you?
Lexapro.
That's what I would have said.
But the intention was to sort of flash our credentials at each other. And I mean, let's be real, you don't ask that question unless your answer to that question is very impressive
Yeah,
in some,
exactly.
right? So it was an attempt by this person, I think, to sort of make themselves look impressive. And I saw it and I clocked it and I didn't. Everybody has their own way of dealing with things, but it did make me think about some of the legitimately successful actors that I have worked with who carry with them an amount of self-certainty. And I'm thinking of one specific occasion. I will not mention this
I'm
actor.
right here, Benjamin. I'm right here.
I know it was somebody much more famous than you, my darling. Uh, this is
How is
somebody
that
who
possible?
this is somebody who's walked the Met Gala red carpet. Um, so we were doing a show together for several months,
Oh, yeah.
and at one point during this show, RuPaul came to see it. And after the show, RuPaul came backstage and would only take one photograph with the entire company. We were going to wait until everybody was ready. We were all going to get together. We were going to have
Good
one
on her. Yeah,
photograph,
good on
right?
her for including everyone.
None of this sneaking a photograph of RuPaul from the wrong angle, blah, 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 right?
Well,
And I
yeah,
get,
that's true too. Yeah.
of course, we had to wait for everybody to come together into the room. And this actor, let's call this actor
Actor
Maxie.
X. What?
Actor Maxie, I don't know. I'm trying to be
Maxie.
gender non-specific, but
Maxie.
Maxie, of course, was the last person to join the group. So we're all sort of waiting for Maxie to arrive. And when it was sort of like, oh, here comes Maxie, everybody huddled together around RuPaul. Maxie walked into the crowd of people, positioned themselves directly next to RuPaul to pose for the photograph. And there's a part of me that says, I want to judge that behavior because I would never do that. But there's a part of me that admires that behavior because the self certainty that Maxie carries is what has, I suspect that self certainty has propelled them into Hollywood and onto the Met Gala red carpet. So that's where today's topic came from. Do you have to be selfish to succeed as an actor? Do you need that level of self belief? Is humility a disadvantage? And I think there's a spectrum at play here. Let me know what you think, Patrick. Like, on one end, insecurity can make you invisible, right?
Yeah.
It's you're not gonna start to fly until you believe that you can do it. But there's a what I think where the majority of us operate is in a sort of grounded self-confidence,
Yeah.
which can fluctuate depending on the situation. Like sometimes I
Okay.
feel better about myself, sometimes I feel worse. But that
Yeah.
can be a collaborative space to be in. I don't know. What
I
you
I think that there's should I just jump in?
go?
I think that there's a couple of things at play here. One, there's um, self confidence, even very evident self confidence,
Yeah.
vividly present for people, is different than arrogance. They can be together, or it can be devoid of arrogance. That's one thing. The second thing, a person could have humility and live in gratitude, for instance, but still be super self-confident when they get in the situation that where they feel self-confident. And the other kind is often like the kind that you experienced with the guy on the set, where it's obviously insecurity. What do you want now? That's just such a transparent display of insecurity because that's a person who, for consciously or not consciously, is like, well, I better prove myself and be let
Right.
people know I'm supposed to be here. Okay, that's all about the self confidence thing. Then there's is that what propelled the actor will call Maxi forward in their career? I personally think that a certain amount of self-confidence does propel someone forward in a difficult business just because it makes them a little more resilient or a lot more resilient in any business, frankly. But
Yeah.
I
Truth.
don't think people reward dicky behavior unless a person is at a certain level where their talent and reputation precede or supersede their dickiness. I know that the person that we're
Well,
calling Maxi is not at that level in their career. So that
is
I think that
is
the
that
people
behavior though? That's the
no,
question.
he's at that behavior, but so I think the thing that's propelled Maxi forward has been Maxi's talent and the the um the talk of about Maxi and Maxi's publicist and all the whatever. I think
Right.
that that's what's propelled Maxi forward. I think there'll come a point where Maxi either gets humble or becomes such a big star that it doesn't matter, one or the other.
So
But
this
right
is the
now, they're not at that level.
so this is the interesting things because you were saying you were talking about arrogance, and I'm sort of wondering if arrogance is in the eye of the beholder in a way.
Oh yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like we
there's
all have a
that too.
different scale upon which we judge that kind of behavior.
That's very true. I hadn't thought of that. That's right. That like there's people who are self-confident and for some people that occurs as really inspiring or charming or uplifting
Yeah,
or even just cool, right? And I have
admirable.
a certain sense of self-confidence on the set that people have said to me, I like you're not afraid to ask questions or step right in. You're a real collaborator. That's true because I feel I have a right to be there. I feel like I have the same amount of right to be there as anybody else, even
Yeah,
if there are great big stars in the play. And I just do. And so, but I can be arrogant and I regret being when I have been, but not usually. But that doesn't mean my confidence won't occur for some people as get her,
exactly right.
right?
There are some people who can look at your confidence in not being afraid to center yourself for a moment or for a rehearsal or whatever, and think, "Oh, wow, I really admire that Patrick can do that." And then there are other people who's like, "Who the fuck does he think he is?" Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's kind of in the eye of the beholder a little bit, and it's probably says your reaction to that behavior probably says more about you. I don't know.
Well, I tell you, all we have to work with is ourselves. I mean, we can't
Yeah.
change other people, right? So I wasn't kidding when I said, if someone said to me on the set, "What are you on now?" I would make a joke to point. I think I would make a joke because I feel like if something's so transparently insecure, the best thing to do is kind of chuckle with them about it. I worked with a guy who, in a cast full of people who were
Yeah.
thoroughbreds. And this guy is a wonderful actor, and he was in to do one of the character roles. And there wasn't a single person in that cast, not one, in a big musical that was under par. It was extraordinary. It's very rare. I don't even know if it's ever even. I can't remember the last time I've ever experienced that. But I was dazzled by everyone,
Yeah.
and so. But this guy, everyone was like game to play except for this guy. And I'd say, um, by the way, I'm setting him up, but I came to like him, and I'll tell you why. I Everything I suggested, we had to work together a lot. He'd say, "No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't. I'm not going to do that." I'd say, "Oh, what if we?" And he'd say, "No, I'm not going to do that." And I'd be like, "Okay." And then the director would say, "Hey, what if you guys?" And he'd say, "Okay," and we would. And after about the third time of that, he goes, listen, it's not I'm not trying to be negative or anything. It's just that would work for you, but I don't think we'll have time to do. And I was like, please don't. Because I laughed. The third time he said, no, I'm not I just started laughing because it was so blatantly not fitting a rehearsal. It was just so utterly no. And it God, struck me as funny. And he kind of got defensive, but then he got off of it, and he started saying, "All right, you were right. Let's give that a try." So anyway, even he came around because
Yeah,
the cast was so vivid, so the vibration was so high,
yeah,
and
I
nobody
agree.
made him wrong. I didn't make him wrong. I just wasn't putting up with it either.
So, uh, just getting back to this sort of idea of your self-certainty, and yes, there's different ways of dealing with it in the moment, but I feel as though the industry rewards a certain amount of that self-certainty. If but it's sort of like the clearer you are about who you are and where you want to go, I think the industry finds it easier to put you there.
I suppose you're right, only there is a limit. It does hit a ceiling eventually. If the assholism continues to accompany that, eventually it'll shut you
Well,
down.
it doesn't. I mean, it can manifest as assholism, or it can
Absolutely.
manifest to some people as a kind of admirable self-certainty.
Yeah,
So,
like we said, but there one will or the other will tilt the scales. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
in this guy's case, it didn't he didn't dig into being a dick. He lightened up. He
yeah,
got it.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
a person, I think that's because my response wasn't defensive. I think when a person
Yeah,
gets a defensive response, it starts a chain reaction. Like, you know,
I
and it's
guess
interesting because it set you off when you got that question on the set. It was like, what do you do with something like that? Like it leaves you feeling like, oh shit, I could have said this or that or the other thing or walked, or not taken it personally. But it's such an off-putting thing to say too.
so
I think
Don is
that's my
saying, Don Nicholson is saying the physical appearance of the person can also come into play because the person fits into their category of their beauty. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
if we're talking about,
What
people
things
who,
that propel people forward? You mean? Yeah.
yeah, and to people who get to a certain level of name recognition in the industry that I certainly don't have, or although there are some people who would be thrilled to have the career I'm having, but I guess I am the people that
Yes,
I'm
it's true.
thinking about who have displayed behavior that I might think of as off-putting have certainly
People like
achieved.
Don, for instance.
Well, Don has his own level of physical beauty, so
Don is a
um,
supermodel. Viewers, for those of you who don't know, Don is an international supermodel, and so he's really just touting his own horn. It's Don's way of saying, "What are you on now?"
but it's interesting to me because I when I think about this sort of behavior that can be labeled as self-centered or selfish or arrogant or dicky behavior,
Mhm.
the flip side of that is that I always hear showrunners and cast showrunners in specific. Let me be specific. I have heard showrunners say, "We have a no asshole policy on our set," right? So there are sets where they strive to make sure that everybody on that set is not an asshole. But let's be real, Brian Cox is clearly kind of an asshole, but it's why he
Is
is
he?
so good in Succession. Oh, he has zero filter in his opinions, right? So, or
Oh, I've worked with loads of people like that. I won't say who they are because who cares? But there's loads of people like that. But I, I I have a little bit of an issue with we have a no asshole policy on our set, and here's why. First of all, it's
why?
a trendy thing to say. Secondly, everybody everybody is an asshole
Right.
sometimes,
Yes.
and you can't.
just
to
when
say,
you
we're
choose.
only gonna have nice people on here. It's like, all right, well, but how are you gonna monitor that? I mean, people, it's a creative process where you're being collaborative, you're vulnerable, you might fucking offend somebody. Get over it. I've had this conversation with, many of the old guard,
Yeah,
and the faith, lots of the older crowd, and they're like, yeah, this whole nice thing. I mean, of course, you personally strive to be a good person and to be kind and to leave people with something better
yeah.
than, you know what I mean? But but I don't. But there was at least a tremendous trend to cast the person who's nice over the person who's really great, because
I
that
mean,
they're not sure that person's going to be difficult or something. It's like, I don't know.
you're always going to cast the person that you think you're going to be able to work well with. So of course we always, in those situations where we are taking the meeting with the showrunner or taking the Zoom with the casting director, we're going to put our best foot forward and not show those sides of ourselves where we feel combative or defensive or offended by something that's been said to us, or maybe we do and that helps. I don't know, but I feel as though there's a difference between the public persona and the personal persona, because it's the behavior, Maxi's behavior. I can only comment on the behavior that they displayed in the workplace. I have no idea if they were
Right.
arrogant and
What they're like
self-centered
on
in
their own.
personal relationships. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's
Yeah.
it's unfair of me to say, "Oh, Maxi is therefore an arrogant person,"
Well,
because maybe
you
they aren't
kind of,
like that in their real life.
well, and also that you kind of nailed it when you said maybe I'm just judging them, because like there's different ways to do that, right? There's like, oh, hey, sorry, I'm the last person here. Where do you want me? And probably they're gonna say, because Maxie was the central lead of that show, oh, stand next to Rue. Okay. Or Rue might say, stand next to me. That's a nicer way to do it. But
Yeah.
then again, he Maxie might be the type of person that's like, well, I know where they're gonna want me, so I might as well just go there and not not dick around.
Maybe the
But and
expectations
other
are not
people might look at it and go, oh,
you smell her.
right? So again, it's so subjective. I think you have to really only differentiate when someone is like a Brian Cox, for instance, and it's like, okay, now their brand is they're gonna be difficult about everything. You
Yeah,
know, that's and he's at a level of his career where, you know, people are gonna keep booking him anyway. He's so damn good.
exactly. Well, that's part of the entertainment, I think.
It's
Um,
it's the world. It ain't fair.
um,
It ain't right,
yeah.
Don. We can't all be as beautiful as Don, and Don knows that. And believe me, Don takes advantage of that, viewers. I don't know.
I think the reframe for me is being unmistakable about your value, but without letting go of your morals, your who you are as a person. I think you can. It's fair to be unmistakable about who you are and who you about your career, where you want your career to go, and how you see yourself in your career.
Yeah.
But I think you also have to hang on to. I'm still going to be a nice person.
I had a I want to share with you real quick. I had
Go for it.
episode at the airport that I thought was one of
You
those
had an
moments.
episode.
I had one of my episodes. And it was one of those moments where I went, geez, I wish this were on film, because I so rarely have this presence of like, I'm so rarely this guy. But I stopped momentarily to put my phone in the pocket of my backpack before I approached the assembly line of, put everything on the for security. And I just stopped for a second, and there were people behind me, and this guy, 3 or 4 people back, went, "Well, there's forget it," and he just puffed past me and went right in front of me and onto the thing. And a couple of people behind me were like, "There's a line, sir," and stuff like that. And I was like, "I know." And so I went up next to him, and I was like, "Were you gonna?" And he goes, "I don't have to answer to you or anybody. There's a you don't stop in the middle of a line." And I was like, "Well, everybody." He goes, "Well, I'm not." I go, Everybody is pretty much agrees that that was a kind of a douchey move. Couldn't you just say?" And he goes, "I don't answer to you or anybody. I don't live by what other people think." And I was like, and I said, "Oh, that's a good idea. Do a really dicky thing and then lean into it." And he went, I went, and he goes, "Well," I'm like, "We're done." And I felt so good about that. Because here's my point. Whether no matter how I respond to it, nobody needs to be worried about the way they're going to respond to how other people or what other people think. I don't necessarily think that's that healthy. But everybody ought to be responsible for what they're leaving people with. That's the difference.
Everybody needs to be responsible for what they're leaving people with. Okay.
Yeah, that's what that guy didn't do. It's
Right.
fine that he doesn't give a fuck about what people think of him, right? But shame on him for not being responsible with leaving a bunch of people with a bad experience.
Yeah.
He did that. That's him. It's like somebody throwing a piece of garbage out the window on the highway and going, "I don't care. I'm not going to see it again." Well, yeah, but you just left litter for someone else to clean up. That's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. So I
Summer
bring
was
that up because it's like that's where you want to be. It's not about ethics. It's like be a better person.
So Summer was just saying, how do you respond to someone who tries to embarrass you by calling you out in front of your peers by not being perfect at a task? And it is kind of, that sort of behavior that you were just
That's
talking
the
about.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, I mean, now I can, if I'm in a good headspace, I can actually sort of interact with the person as who I know they really are. You can't say it to a total stranger, but you want to say you're so much bigger than this, knock it off, but you can't. But you can have that attitude, and sometimes that transfers, and a person goes, "Oh, well, maybe I didn't, that came out wrong." It's like
Sure.
sometimes it takes care of itself.
Yeah. This has been a delicious discussion. I'm thrilled that we got this time together while you're in the Mexico of New. Um,
Thank you. It's lovely here. It's really lovely here, and my allergies are calming
yeah,
down.
thanks. It's cold and raining here in New York, so thanks. Thanks.
Whatever. I don't care.
But yeah, I think the reframe that is valuable is please take responsibility for how you treat other people.
Yeah,
Uh,
what you're
you can
leaving
still
people
be
with. Like,
you
look
can
at it
still
from
be
that
very
point of view.
clear. You can still be very
Yeah.
clear about your career path and who you are in the industry and where you want to be, where you want to go in the industry. But please take responsibility for the people around you as well.
And the other piece I would say is if you want to be confident, start with, well, I believe I deserve to be here as much as the biggest star on the set? Am I worthy as worthy as they are?
Yeah.
Start with that. Because if the answer is no, get that organized because you deserve to be confident. You really do. We work hard. We deserve to have confidence in what we do.
And if we don't have that confidence,
Who will?
exactly,
So true. Look at that. Look at that. We're finishing each other's
we
sentences
did it. All
like
right,
an
friends,
old
we will be back
couple.
right back here in 2 weeks' time, an
Well,
hour
I won't be
earlier,
here.
because Benjamin. Well, yes, Patrick won't be right there, but we'll be right here
That's right.
in this. We'll be
Yeah.
right here in 2 weeks' time, an hour earlier. But don't worry, we'll let you know, because Benjamin's got a job to do.
Benjamin's got to go be voiceful.
I better go into the city and be voiceful. But thanks for joining us on the Working Actor NYC. Please check
Thank
out
you.
our website, theworkingactornyc.com. Please send us a video so that we can feature you right here on the podcast.
And don't
Um,
forget to trim the link tree or whatever it is you do with those.
you can find us at the Working Actor NYC on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You can find us wherever you're
Spotify.
listening. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. And let us know what you're working on in your acting career
Yeah.
and in which way we can be of service to
Send
you.
us videos, send us questions. We love them.
We
Keep them
love
coming.
them and we love
Thank
you.
you, everybody. Thank you,
And
international male model Don Nicholson.